Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We are so excited about the forum that you will be participating in and listening, and hopefully you'll get some good information that you can share with your community and your family. I have the great pleasure and honor to introduce Ebony McMorris, our moderator for this afternoon. And Ebony McMorris is an award-winning journalist, having a combined career in radio and TV for over 20 years. Her most recently been named the National News Correspondent for Reach Media, a subsidiary of Radio One. Now, she also works as a contributor to the Al Sharpton Show on WOL, just 1450, and Sirius XM Radio. Before her long track in radio, she spent 7 years at NBC Channel 4 in Washington, D.C., as an assignment editor and later as an assistant planning manager. Now, Ms. McMorris has produced and conducted interviews with high ranking political officials and newsmakers for NBC News, Nightly News, Today's Show, and NBC News Channel. Now, Ms. McMorris recently took a position with the American Urban Radio Network as its White House news correspondent, as well as delivering contents for its multiple level news platforms. Now, Ebony is a native of Washington, D.C., and a University of South Carolina alumni. Her passion is mentoring young adults by teaching community empowerment and media education. We are excited to have this wonderful person join us. She is a fantastic supporter of all of our community programs, and we want to thank her for being the moderator for this afternoon. So take it away, Ebony.
Thank you so much, Linda, for that introduction. I was raised in the church, so let me just say I know protocol. So let me just say I want to thank Reed Temple AME Church and also give glory and honor to God that we can be here to participate in this. I also want to recognize James A. Parker Lay Organization. What a beautiful performance by the dance ministry at Reed Temple. Let me first also say welcome to the 2022 NAACP Prince George's County Chapter County Exec Forum. I'm honored to be the moderator for this. One of the greatest services that residents can have is to provide being a public servant to its residents, and one of the greatest responsibilities is electing those who will represent us all. With that, I want to go over some of the housekeeping rules, and then I will introduce some of the candidates. Please listen. The rules are as follows. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement. After the opening statement, I will ask each candidate 4 questions. All of the candidates will be asked the same question. They have 1 minute to respond. If you see my face pop back up, that means that you're going over your time. And each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their closing statements. Thank you. All right, we will begin. I would like each candidate to they have 2 minutes for their opening statement, but I will also ask a question in addition to that, so you have an extra minute for that. The first question is, what metrics would you use to uphold exemplary standards for the PGC department? Please answer that after your 2-minute opening statement. I'm going to start with Mr. Billy Bridges.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morris, and I thank you, Reed Temple family, for the invitation today. My name is Billy Bridges, and I am a second-time candidate for this office. I ran again in 2018, and I saw, because of some of the failures and the things that we were warned about, I need to come back and do this again to make sure that everyone understands. I am an Air Force veteran and unapologetically a Christian, a father of 2 daughters, a 24-year employee of the Prince George's County Public Schools, an Air Force veteran. I have training in law enforcement and auditing and accounting. I have a undergraduate degree in political science, graduate degrees in public administration with government service, emergency management, and pastoral counseling. I consider myself to be a political scientist and not a politician. I believe in solutions and not excuses. And I think that now it's time for me to uplift our family in Prince George's County to a position where we are no longer, I would say, sharecroppers and that we are more in line of being owners, taking owners of our county. With that in mind, some of my major policies are making sure that we are now making our citizens investors, where they can actually, bring their monies together, okay, to do certain projects, as opposed to waiting for the developers to do everything for us. That includes housing, recycling, and any other retail situations we might want to take part in. That way we can create generational wealth, okay, and indeed have additional dividends coming back for themselves and for their families, and also transforming our police department from police department into public service, and also making sure our school system is totally reorganized so that we deliver the kind of education for our students that they deserve. In addition to that, we'll make sure that in the line of public safety, that our citizens are feeling secure in their environments, and they also are engaged in our communities. And by doing that, we can make sure that we have a top-notch law enforcement department, and make sure that we have a top-notch neighborhood and community engagement by all of our citizens. And to uplift all of our citizens, I think we need to make sure that they understand there's going to be a total accountability in government, and therefore having a I'm sorry, Office of Inspector General. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Next, Sherman Hardy, please provide your opening statement, and also the question: what metrics would you use to uphold exemplary standards for the PGC departments?
Yes, greetings. I am Sherman Hardy, and I am going to be your next county executive. Thank you, Reed Temple, for having me on, and greetings to everyone who is watching this live, because I appreciate each and every one of you for coming, because this is very important in our livelihood as a state. Just to brag a little bit about myself, I am a natural leader, a creator, and an independent thinker. I've been called a humble individual with great ambition for Prince George's County. I am a veteran. I am an actual emergency manager. I worked at FEMA. I have many years of law enforcement experience, and I have also worked in federal agencies within procurement and budgeting. I am a business owner and a homeowner here in Prince George's County. I was a secretary for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, board of director for Prince George's County Association of Realtors, and I also was a member of the Education Roundtable and the Prince George's County Young Democrats. I have done tons of work here in this county already through the SCLC, which led my opponent to review the use of force by establishing the Police Reform Task Force. And later I petitioned to end the discrimination lawsuit against PGPD. I've advocated for environmental injustices, for food apartheid. I've also protested against racism in Prince George's County, and assisted with helping creating the county's 10-year housing plan. I'm running because I want to bring back true trust and transparency to government, and in my departments and in my administration, I'm going to make sure that I use precision and innovation to assist our county residents, and also create mechanisms to hold ourselves accountable. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. I heard your intro. You was trying to call that into existence. I am. Okay. Our next candidate, Ms. Tanya Sweat, please give your opening statement, and also what metrics would you use to uphold exemplary standards for the PGC department?
Good afternoon to the pastoral care team of Reed Temple AME Church, the lay organization, and the membership. I want to say thank you for inviting me. I hail from the 7th Episcopal District, and the lay organization gave me the opportunity to begin my public speaking career, if you will, when I was a young teenager. So I feel like I'm coming full circle. I am Tanya Sweat, and I'm running to be your next county executive. I bring to the table years of leadership in the federal government, and I've also served in the United States Air Force. My most recent professional career led me to be a manager in the United States government, managing and overseeing a nationwide program, managing funds, and a team that examined financial institutions for our nation. I'm running because I want to improve things for our children, I want to improve things for our community, and I want to do it with competence. And that leads me to answer the question that's already been raised for the day. When you ask what metrics would I use to uphold the exemplary standards for our department, it depends upon the department. But what I will tell you is that metric will not include or involve the amount of money being spent. I believe the metric should be quantifiable and qualitative, meaning we will measure how many citizens we assist with their needs and how well we do that by getting feedback from Prince Georgians. We need to know what we're doing well and what we aren't doing well. I am here to listen, and I will listen to the citizens of this county to make sure everyone's needs are met.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Sweat. Next question. Post-COVID, there have been challenges in our school system. As the county exec, what improvements will you implement when it comes to fully funding of the county's public schools, and how would you monitor and assess the use of these funds? Again, I'm going to begin with Mr. Bridges.
Thank you so much. This is something that has bothered me for the longest, because we went to initially school-based budgeting and student-based budgeting. That's all a farce, okay? We need to make sure that we fund each school based on their needs. And in addition, we need to have a consistent plan in place. With a consistent plan, everyone's doing the same thing. We're not doing 208 different things at 208 different schools. So therefore, with funding, it needs to be consistent across the board. And we need to take leadership directly from the schools and make sure it's centralized. Okay, so we know that we're all doing the same things. And with funding for the COVID and everything else, we need to make sure, as I was trying to mention at the end of that first comment, that having an office of inspector general that covers the whole county. For any time there's a situation where a citizen has a complaint, someone in the department has a complaint, if it's in the schools, they can make that call to the inspector general, and we can step in and take a look at what's wrong. And for those that have violated the law, we will remove them and make sure they're prosecuted.
Thank you. Mr. Hardy, do you need me to repeat that question?
Please.
Post-COVID, there have been challenges in our school system. As the county exec, what improvements will you implement when it comes to fully funding the county's public schools, and how would you monitor and assess the use of these funds?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to say we give COVID too much credit, for some things. And quite frankly, it has been turmoil and problems going on with the school system way long before COVID. And COVID was just something that exasperated it and showed, pretty much the entire county what the issues were. But what I have done, I have also, when I announced last year, I said that I wanted to create an Office of Inspector General to investigate fraud, waste, and abuse, but I also want to do desk audits and also make sure that we are being fiscally responsible. That is part of my campaign, but also creating an open government portal where we will be able to follow our budget line by line to see what we're taking in and what we're spending. I think those are some very crucial steps in order to start with some transparency and accountability. But most importantly, we already passed mechanisms within the blueprint for our schools. The only thing we need to do is add some teeth to it and make sure that we are actually enforcing whatever is on the books, and that's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Ms. Sweat, I'll repeat the question. Post-COVID, there have been challenges in our school system. As a county executive, what improvements will you implement when it comes to fully funding the county's public schools, and how will you monitor and assess the use of these funds?
Yes, thank you. As a mother of a PGCPS graduate and a current Prince George's County Public School student, a fourth grader, there is much work to be done. And I have to say, I agree with Mr. Hardy. COVID didn't start the problem. It magnified the problem. It has exacerbated the problem. The blueprint, which I advocated for when I was on the state PTA, has caused the state of Maryland to invest $3.8 billion, more dollars, into our public school system statewide. One of the things I intend to do is ensure that the money that comes to Prince George's County because of the blueprint goes directly to our classrooms to give our teachers the increased salary that they've been promised and still have not gotten since the Great Recession, to reduce our teacher to student ratio, or student to teacher ratio, to make sure that we can social distance and keep our children and our educators healthy. And I'm also going to advocate at both the state and federal levels to ensure we get the funds necessary to build new schools and renovate the ones that can be renovated and saved.
Thank you for that, Ms. Sweat. Next question. What would you do, Mr. Bridges, to bring more affordable housing to Prince George's County?
Oh, that's a great one. And it goes back to my investment projects, okay, for citizens to do the generational wealth, allowing citizens to pool their monies together to actually get involved in these development projects for low to moderate income housing. That in turn allows them over the course of that loan to receive dividends from those mortgage payments. And therefore, we don't have to work for the developers to do everything for us, because the developers, they're going to do what they need to do, and they're going to set the prices as they assume that they think needs to be set. So therefore, having our citizens actually taking charge of their own futures like that, they will be able to build, and the county can in turn, if we have available land, donate some of that land to that project. Okay, so the citizens can again be fully invested and create that generational wealth we've been talking about.
Thank you for that. Mr. Hardy, what would you do to bring more affordable housing to Prince George's County?
Yes, I can tell you some things that I've already done that to bring affordable housing to Prince George's County. I just completed my 4th year on the Housing Opportunity for All Committee, where we got together a plan that said that we needed to invest $20 million into affordable housing to make sure that, you know, our kids, our scholars, and our seniors, and whoever can afford to live here. We also laid the paperwork to be able to get the land banking within Prince George's County to preserve affordable housing, and also a few other mechanisms. But what I'm going to continuously do as your county executive is push forward to allow accessory dwelling units and tiny homes, but also more importantly, invest in universal design to make sure that, you know, we can age in place, but also to ensure that we can have affordable housing. My goal is to also lower property taxes. That way we can ensure that affordable housing is actually taking place, and also invest in different programs that, you know, outside of paying down your closing costs and down payment assistance, but move over to assisting with some of the principal, because we understand that the housing prices are becoming astronomical, and it's not comparative with the wages. Everything's going up but the salary. So those are some things that I actually want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hardy. Ms. Sweat, what would you do to bring more affordable housing to Prince George's County?
First and foremost, I would enforce the laws that are already on the books. Prince George's County and the state of Maryland have invested taxpayer dollars into communities for the purpose of creating affordable housing. I currently represent clients who are not getting the benefit of those investments because the county and the state are not exercising the necessary oversight to ensure that the landlords are doing what they're supposed to do. That's step one. Ensuring landlords do what they're supposed to do, because they're getting federal and state credits, tax credits, for providing affordable housing. Additionally, we're building a lot of residential housing in the county. And for any multifamily unit or dwelling that is approved to be built, I will require, as allowed under federal law, a certain percentage of that housing be deemed affordable housing, or it can't be built. So we're going to put contracts in place, and we'll make sure that developers and builders follow the laws that are already on the books. We have to enforce them.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Next question. What are your plans, Mr. Bridges, for smart growth in the county, and who will be your allies?
Smart growth. Once again, everything I have in place is called the new Prince George's County Plan. It's not like a political platform or anything. And within that plan, we talk about the citizens being involved and having partners for smart growth. Of course, we're going to bring in our developers. They're not my best allies, but I bring those in. Environmentalists bring in also, because we need to understand that we're building housing and we're building any projects that we're involved in is going to be one that's going to be beneficial and safe for all of our citizens. And so therefore, having the citizens panels as well as involved. I know we always have hearings about those kind of things, but we need to make sure that hearing, and I want to create a new department of urban planning, okay, that actually has a plan in place, okay, of what we really need. And we're not going to have things that are being built that don't need to be built in other areas. And we're not going to uproot people out there in neighborhoods to get certain things done. So just making sure that we have a consistent plan across the county and everybody understands that it's going to be beneficial for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. What are your plans, Mr. Hardy, for smart growth in the county, and who will be your allies? I can't hear you. Start all over.
I wanted to say that my goal in creating the smart city or the smart development, economic development, is first of all is a ambitious goal. I want to make sure that Prince George's County is the first smart county in the United States of America, so that we can use data, tech, and all of our resources and conversion together so that they talk and tell us what our problems are going on in the county. But also, I want to make sure that we do infill development. We build from within and then grow outward, because we have a lot of infrastructure, as I mentioned earlier, that's crumbling that we need to repair. We can definitely protect and save our environment by doing this, and also reduce our watershed. So we first, and as far as my partners, I always have this thing that says that if you're going to legislate and advocate on behalf of the people, you have to make sure that those people are in the room as well, to have a voice in those conversations and dialogue. So everybody is welcome. Everybody can come and see what it is that we're trying to do to bring about this smart economic development in the smart county that I'm trying to do. And definitely they should visit my website at www.hardyforpg.com to view the rest of my insight on that.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. What are your plans, Ms. Sweat, for smart growth in the county, and who would be your allies?
Thank you for that question. We have suffered in Prince George's County for too long from not having smart growth. First and foremost, I'm going to build an alliance with our county council, because I need them to go back to allowing us to charge the surcharge on developers who build in Prince George's County. The waiver has been in place too long, and developers are not investing in our infrastructure, but they're building homes and earning profits. The next thing that I will do is use the cadre of engineers and builders and trades workers in the county, because we have several, to help us sit down and plan what we need to do to ensure our residents have the infrastructure in place to support the residences that are already here. We're building more houses, but we're not taking care of the infrastructure. And we must do that for our citizens.
Thank you so much for that answer. Next question, and this is actually our last question. What improvements do you believe should be high priorities in the county, Mr. Bridges?
First and foremost, I'm going to say, because of our supposedly spike in crime, we have to deal with community safety. And thereafter, we have to deal with the economy, okay? Because again, I want the citizens to get in place where they are actually taking charge of their futures. And that's the only way it's going to happen. We can depend on corporations coming in here to do certain things for us, but at the end of the day, excuse me, they're going to have to take charge of their own futures. And next would be our school system. Those are the highest priorities, I think. Once we've done that, and everything is all connected. This is why our current politicians seem to think that you deal with one issue at a time. That's not it. Those of us in political science understand that it's all interconnected. There is no one you separate from the other. So when we have to say our priorities, they actually can have equal standing, because they have to be taken care of. And we don't have to wait until there's an issue and then we go ahead and try to address that issue, because reacting is always dangerous. We need to have a plan already in place. And that's what the Prince George's County Plan does for us.
Thank you.
Thank you
for that answer. Mr. Hardy, what improvements do you believe should be high priorities in our county?
I like to say that there is no problem greater than the next. We all have our crosses to bear. Most importantly, from looking at my reference point or anyone else's reference point, that may not look the same. So I taken a holistic approach and a whole community approach with my advocacy, and understand that I need to interconnect all, through intersection, because everybody who has an issue feel like their mountain is larger than the next. So I want to make sure that I touch every segment of Prince George's County so that no one feels left behind. My goal is to make sure that my departments are operating effectively and efficiently and strike with precision. That's what I keep saying. As someone who's worked for the government for years and nonprofits and all types of organizations, I understand the structure and continuity of government and ensuring that how departments should efficiently operate. And that's what I want to bring to this county.
Thank you so much for that. Ms. Sweat, what improvements do you believe should be high priorities in our county?
I started on this journey into elected office as a PTA mom. So I'll tell anybody, my passion is children, but it's not just about the children. It's about education, because education is the linchpin to every success. Without it, we're not going to do well. We're not going to thrive. So education is my top priority, be it for the children, for young adults, or even for older adults who need professional development to transfer into new jobs, to transition into better paying jobs. So we're going to improve education in this county. And we're going to build a work development program that supports our community. Because with a growth in education, improvements in education, we can ensure that our citizens are employable and that they gain gainful employment, and that will increase the revenue in the county to take care of everything else we need to do.
Thank you for that. We're actually a little ahead of time, but I'm going to ask one more question before we get to the the closing statements, and that is, how will you ensure accountability throughout your time in office, Mr. Bridges?
First and foremost, I would make sure that we all are on the same page. There has to be a plan where we understand what conduct is required. Even when our public safety department, I'm going to call, we need to make sure that everyone's retrained, that we don't operate in the same atmosphere we've been operating in. And the school system also, make sure it's all consistent with our training and with our expectations. Once everybody understands that, then there's accountability that comes in place. And with our Office of Inspector General, that is where we step in, because if you know what you're supposed to do, and those of us who serve in the military, we understand. Once you take the oath, you accept the position, you know you're accountable for certain things. And when you don't do that, then there are consequences. And so therefore, I want to make sure they understand that there are no little I's or big U's when it comes to accountability. Everyone's on the same page. We all have a job to do. Bosses, subordinates, or whatever you might be, we all have a job to do, and we need to take pride in that position, okay, and understand that we're going to hold you accountable for that also.
Mr. Hardy, how will you ensure accountability if you were to get this position?
Yes. So when I get this position, how I'm going to restore accountability to our government, because we have to realize that the executive branch is a separate entity in the three parts of our government. So I intend on being an executor. But secondly, I want to establish a Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to ensure that our community is safeguarded. And also, like I said earlier, an open portal for transparency where, it will have our budget, it'll have information about traffic stops and all sorts of information. And the county residents will be able to request the data for other things to go into that portal. But also, my Office of Inspector General that I keep talking about to investigate fraud, race, and abuse. Those are things that I want to do for government accountability. That has been, at the foremost and front forward of my campaign since I announced, and, to bring back truth, trust, and transparency to government. We are flapping in the wind with that, and people are losing faith, and the checks have been bouncing. So we need to restore some trust back in the government.
Thank you for that. And Ms. Sweat, how will you ensure accountability across your government?
To ensure accountability, I am going to exemplify something one of our past presidents said. The buck stops here with me. I will demand that the county council hold me and my administration accountable for what we're supposed to do. That means no more rubber stamps. I expect the county council to have hearings and challenge us on what we're doing in the executive branch. I expect the citizens and the voters to hold me accountable. That means I will make myself available to answer for decisions that are made in the county, whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. I will have an open door policy so that the citizens can get to me to hold me accountable, to question me about what's happening in the county. And I will demand that of every appointee in my administration. No more hiding behind 311 and voice messages. I will answer my emails with the help of staff. But I recognize that as the chief executive of this county, I have to stand in front of the electorate and my constituents and be willing to answer for what happens in the executive branch. And I will do that. I will never say it's not my responsibility. I would have never put my name on the ballot if I didn't want the responsibility.
Thank you for that. Now, as we conclude, I would like each candidate to have 2 minutes, give you 2 minutes for your closing statement. We'll start with you, Mr. Bridges.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for that participate today. And thank you for our host also and our gracious moderator. First and foremost, I entered this race again in 2022 because a scripture that I like says that where there's no vision, the people perish. And I found out last year that there's a certain segment of the population in this county who funds a lot of our elections who don't have a vision for those of us who are not part of that group. And so consequently, I warned all of my opponents last time that if we delay justice for any of our citizens in economics or in our education or in law enforcement, then we are denying them that justice. And Dr. King went further to say that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So consequently, we have to get our citizens to understand that they are not sharecroppers. They don't have to wait for all of the things that developers or others can do for them, or even government. We want them to be empowered. This is a new way of governing for the future, whereby there are no tax increases necessary because we're going to get those taxes from those investments that the citizens are making. And I think that if we understand that we can be more than we are right now, this Prince George's County can be what it needs to be, a model for the nation, not just an affluent Black community, but a model for the nation to see how we do law enforcement, how we do education, how we do our economy, and how we increase our generational wealth. I invite everyone to go to www.bridgesplus.org, take a look at the videos, take a look at the documents to show the plan and see if that is not something that you want as a blueprint going forward for yourself and for your family members. Thank you so very much for everyone. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. Next, Mr. Hardy, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I just want to say, in this county, we have been sleeping. It's time to wake up, because nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Like Jesse Jackson seeking a nomination in 1984, I am looking for for rocks laying around. I am going up against David, and this is a David and Goliath situation. And each one of you, as an individual, is somebody that can do something about what's going on. Our county executive has not been present. She has not handled COVID properly, and she has decimated many of our departments. And it's time that we make a stand and do something different. As your county executive, I plan to make this place we call home a place where we can live, grow, work, play old, and grow to see the next generation enjoy. This will be the first smart county in the United States of America. And I will introduce new tools to schools to increase the education and close the gap by introducing the metaverse and 3D printing. And I plan to build more trade schools and vocational schools so residents, no matter your age, can be prepared for the jobs that are tomorrow, that are here today. I will improve the way we police to protect our citizens, and I will also make sure that we have affordable housing. But there's so much more on my agenda that I want to do, such as creating municipal Wi-Fi and also establishing community banks, because as we see now, Wells Fargo and other traditional institutions that were built off of slavery are not serving our needs properly. I also want to switch our transit system to a public ride share using tech such as Uber and Lyft. And most importantly, I want to bring back truth, trust, and transparency to government. Visit my website at www.hardy4pg.com and see what I have in store for you. Again, I need those rocks laying around.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Hardy. Now, Ms. Sweat, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thank you. I want to thank the Prince Georgians, those who are listening, those who may watch later, because I'm new to politics. This is my first campaign. And what I will say to you is, in the last 18 months of traveling around the county, meeting you, talking to you about your concerns, your issues, you've been extremely receptive, and I am thoroughly appreciative of that. That's what I want to do in this county. Restore the power back to the people. And that's why I've run a grassroots campaign, because I'm people-focused and people-centered. I want to help all of us address the concerns that have ailed us for far too long so that we can strengthen Prince George's County. And I will use my 25 years of experience as an attorney, my 20 plus years of experience in the federal government, to bring to bear all the resources that are available to us to help us improve where we need to improve, enhance what we need to enhance, and make us a better county. Prince George's County is known as the most affluent African American county in the nation. I believe we can be the most affluent county in the nation, regardless of our color, our ethnicity, or our background. It's just going to take a little bit of work. And if you trust me as your leader, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to work to improve education for our children, to improve the community for those of us who live here, have bred here, have built our lives here. And we're going to do it with extreme competence so that we can become the example for others in the state and the nation to follow. I think you might be muted, Ms. McMorris.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Sweat. Thank you for those for each of the candidates that came on, and I hope those who were listening will take heed and to what has been said. I'll just say, even in the comments, one said all the candidates presented great arguments and their professionalism has been appreciated. I also want to say there were many questions in the chat about the incumbent County Exec Angela also Brooks. Yes, she was invited, but she was unavailable to participate. So I just want to answer that question because I know everyone was wondering that. But again, thank you to the NAACP for even allowing me to moderate this. And also thank you to James A. Parker Lay Organization. I'm going to turn this over now to NAACP Prince George's County Chapter President Linda Thornton Thomas. You're muted. You're about as bad as me.
All right. Thank you so very much, Ebony. A wonderful job. And I want to thank each and every person who participated. Thank you, candidates. I know you're working hard. I'm sure you're out now, going out on the trail again. So good luck to each and every one of you. On behalf of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, South County Economic Development Association, the National Association for Black Veterans, Reed Temple, and the NAACP, I want to thank you for joining us. And I hope you have heard some information that is beneficial. Now, I want to take this moment to just share with you an important thing that I think is important. I'm asking you to exercise your constitutional right to vote. It is not just a privilege, but it is a duty that we owe to our children, our neighbors, and our friends. It is important that you vote. You will make a difference. I promise you, you will. And consider voting for someone who will dedicate their time to listen to your concerns and who will visit your neighborhood. Vote early, vote absentee, vote in the primary. Demand the best because you deserve it. So once again, thank you for joining us. We provide these forums to assist you in identifying the candidates that will provide the best support for your family and your community. And we believe we do a great job. So thank you, Reed Temple, for getting out there and helping us get the word out. And I am so excited. This is one way to communicate with our community, and we're looking forward for more things. So we're going to hold you to it. And we're going to wait for the next statements, okay, about when you're going to do another forum, all right? Looking forward to that. I want to say to each and every person, have a great afternoon, stay safe, and I'm going to yield it now to Lynette Cosby.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. I'm going to do, we were AME, so we have protocol. So I'm going to thank everybody again and give you some more information, and then we'll be closing out. I want to thank our pastor, Reverend Dr. Mark E. Whitlock, and our First Lady, Reverend Mia Whitlock, the James A. Parker Lay Organization leadership, and all the members, and all of Reed Temple AME Church for the support. I want to thank our partners because we couldn't have done this without you. The Prince George's chapter of NAACP, Prince George's chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the National Associations of Black Veterans, the South County Economic Development Association. And the National Action Network was also a part of the partnership for Prince George's County. All of those partners are wonderful organizations. Look back at the beginning to see how you can join and be a part of those, because those are long-standing, wonderful organizations for everyone to get involved. Finally, I want to say that this primary is this Prince George's, well, Maryland has a closed primary. So you have to be registered to vote, and you have to be registered to vote as in a party affiliation. So you will have an opportunity to register to vote up until the end of June. The primary election is July 19th. Early voting starts July the 7th. There are mail-in ballots if you still are not comfortable going in person. So you should be getting your mail-in ballot soon if you want to vote that way. But please, your vote is your voice, and we do need to vote. Our next forum will be Saturday, June the 4th at 1 p.m. And that's going to be for the Maryland State candidate for candidates for Attorney General and Governor. Please come out and support us that. And I'm going to end with this in the word of one of my favorite voting rights advocates, Fannie Lou Mahama. She said, "We want ours, and we want ours now. Your vote is your voice, and that's how you're going to get it." Thank you for coming, and you all have a great day.